A test match which promised so much for the first 3 days, ending in as one-sided a result as possible. Our expert and former New Zealand cricketer Chris Harris joins us from Christchurch to look back at the opening test of the Ashes. Chris, a case of too many what could have beens for England, and we'll get to that ahead in the discussion. But after an even keel through the first half, Australia absolutely dominant when it mattered and deserved winners.
Yeah, they were very impressive in that second innings, the way they bowled and fielded, and then the way they finished off the game. I mean, I know England will be devastated that Australia only needed to chase around that 170 mark, but still the fashion that they did it and the way that they finished the game off, you know, by 10 wickets. Who would have thought after a couple of days that there was going to be a 10-wicket win to one side? So Australia delighted to I guess, show their dominance when it didn't look as though there was going to be a dominant side. So they'll be absolutely delighted and a very much deserved victory.
England were 246 for 4 in the first innings, Chris, but they slid to 302 all out. Then they had Australia on the mat at 209 for 7, but eventually conceded 328. Tellingly then, in the second innings, they collapsed from a reasonable 155 for 5 to 195 all out. Now, there's no way you can afford to let go of so many promising positions in a test match against anyone in the world, can you?
No, the absolute key for England for me was they did the first thing right. They won the toss and elected to bat on what was a very, very good surface at the Gabba. Good for batting on day one and day two. And as you said, they got to 246 for 4. And from there, you know, they had a chance to rest. I think they were 196 overnight. But at 246 for 4, guys had rested, they were fresh. They had the opportunity, and they know, they'll look back and it was a really important moment. They should have cashed on to at least 400 plus. Now, if they'd done that, it would have been a different result. You can't rely on scoring second innings runs. We know how much more difficult that is. So England will be looking back on this test match and saying, we got the first innings wrong, we got in a position of strength, and then we threw it away.
Now, in a series, you expect it to be one of fine margins, and especially considering the slightly shaky nature of both batting units, the bowlers were always going to hold key. You did mention pre-match that a fit Australian bowling attack could be the difference, and it went that way at Brisbane, didn't it?
Yeah, it does. I think Nathan Lyon has to hold his hand up. He's obviously the best spinner on both sides at the moment. You know, although he didn't get a lot of wickets, I mean, he got 5 for the test match, I think it was, but he looked as though he troubled the batsman at several occasions. He went past the outside edge of the left-handers particularly. And as I said in that first innings, to me, the Australian bowlers bowled within themselves. And I think when they batted really well in that second innings, the bowlers just got, even though they'd done a reasonably big job in that first innings, they just got re-energised, if you like. And I think they went a little bit harder in that second innings, and they got off to a brilliant start with Hazelwood getting those 2 early wickets. And, you know, having England 33 for 2, I think they could sniff a really big opportunity. And so you have to take the hat off to the Australian bowlers. As I said, I thought they were slightly advantaged, and I think they showed why. And England, I guess, you know, very disappointed not to have batted a little bit harder in that second innings, because I still think there was a lot of wickets that were thrown away. But you must give credit to Australia, because they kept asking questions, they kept putting England under pressure, and unfortunately in the end you'd have to say that England just were blown away in that second innings. They just capitulated.
So with that result, Australia extend a proud record at the Gabba. 29 years since they last lost here, Chris. But if this game is going to be remembered for one thing, it will be that Stephen Smith special across days 2 and 3. Without any exaggeration, it truly was an epic, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just made it look a little bit easier than everyone else. I mean, what he does very well, he puts away that bad ball, very strong through the leg side, but he's also very good at just manipulating the strike. You know, when if he's ever under pressure, it doesn't seem like he is, because he's pretty cool, relaxed, and relaxed sort of a character. What he does very well is he runs well, he gets the singles, and he gets to the non-strikers end, which just allows him a bit more time to relax. And he's, as I said, he's very good between the wickets, and he just knows how to put the opposition under pressure. And I thought, yeah, he played a magnificent innings. And you'd have to say that was probably the innings that was the difference in this test match.
People around cricket always speak about the vitality, Chris, of leading from the front. And presently, aren't we just blessed to be witnessing perhaps not just one, but 2 of the best examples? Smith, to put things in perspective, can now score 19 consecutive ducks and still average over 50 in Test cricket. And then you have Virat Kohli here in India, who continues to eat international centuries for breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Yeah, I love the fact that you brought these two up, because obviously we are talking about the Ashes, but the Indian side had a brilliant win over Sri Lanka. They'll be happy that they won with, reasonably early in day 4, because obviously they're off to South Africa very quickly, and we all know about that. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up Steve Smith and Virat Kohli, because for me they're two players that love the responsibility. They love to lead from the front, and these two players particularly, it seems the more responsibility you give them, the more they deliver, if that is even possible, because they're delivering in spades at the moment. Both great players to watch, slightly different. You'd have to say, for me, Virat Kohli a little bit more elegant. But Steve Smith, you have to love his tenacity and his ability to stick out through those hard periods and then make the most of it. But I love the fact that both of these guys go from strength to strength. The more responsibility you give them, the better they become. And, they're both hitting the prime of their careers. So it's scary to think that but perhaps from both of these players, still the very best of them is to come. How scary is that?